What are you making, Creaky?
I've got, let's have a little turn this around. I've got spinach, avocado with some good steak.
Are you vegan?
Hell no. I eat every single animal. I do not discriminate.
Really? So all right. Thank you, Dan. So everyone can hear Mitch. Okay, that's good. Sorry, let me just adjust my camera here. Is this the new household, Creaky?
This is the crib. I've been here for a while now, but Gibbo's just kind of moved in. So
who's living in it now?
me, Gibbo, and my sister.
Shannon?
Yeah.
Right.
So
And how's this going along?
really good. It's been really easy. Like obviously having Gibbo, it's been super simple. Like we obviously know each other pretty well. We've played together for a long time. And then my sister and I, you met, the both of us when you were in Brizzy, and yeah, like we just get along like house on fire. So if we're not hanging shit and laughing our ass off, we're normally having a good conversation or trying to do something productive or working out. So we always have a really good kind of relationship, and it's just nice to be in the same household. And this weird time, it's good to kind of have family around.
How many dogs you got up in there?
2 dogs. So we got Gibbo's. Come here. Yeah. Oh, I think he wants to go outside. I think it's poop time for the dogs. Gibbo, look
really?
at bloody dogs, mate. He wants to go outside and drop off the kids. Come on, mate. Out you go. Oh, good. Yeah, mate. It's a crazy household. We've got. That's Romeo.
Oh, there we go.
And then
Gibbo.
Gibbo's got swollen feet at the moment. So
What's
look at his big shoes.
wrong with Gibbo?
He rolled his ankles. So he had to buy big clown shoes.
Gibbo, why?
Gibbo's all right.
Hey, make sure everyone who's watching also supports Gibbo's podcast. One-on-one with Gibbo. What's it called? Gibbo One-on-One, right?
Gibbo 1-on-1.
Yeah,
He's proud of
doing a
it.
good job.
He never shuts up about it. He's proud of it. Get out of here, you bloody hooligan. He's an absolute pelican, mate. Can't control him.
So check this out. I see you guys doing these home workouts. Who's in charge of those?
Me, and I don't
You
think
put
that's
the
why
program-
they're
you
very
put the program
popular.
together?
They're not very popular with the other 2 housemates. It's at the moment we've got like a water boxing bag, like no impact, like boxing, so it's really good for your wrists, elbows, shoulders. My best friend Josh Nesbitt actually sells those bags, and they're unreal. So we got one of those. We've got an assault bike. If you use an assault bike, they're the worst things in the world, but they are probably the most effective tool for strength and conditioning. Some free weights, explosive ball, TRX.
Because this is kind of a hot thing, right? The assault bikes are hot. Why are they better than like a spin bike? What's the difference?
So I don't believe that people think that assault bikes are hot. I would say people understand how hard they are to use and they stay away from them. In the crossfitting world, the ergo skier that you've seen and assault bikes and rowers are kind of pretty big. The assault bike itself is arm powered, so you have to push arms as well as pulling. So it's like a push-pull, but it's also legs as well. Now, there's only one setting on it. There's just regular. And regular, no matter who you are, it goes basically, you can go time, watts. I go on calories. So I might do a 30-calorie sprint, which might take me, for people out there that are trying to, like, pick at what I'm saying, you don't burn 30 calories, but it's like working up towards a 30-calorie goal, which might take me 15 seconds. Then you might have a rest. And instead of doing 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, you can kind of cheat it. With calories, it might take you 35 seconds to do 30 calories. It might take me 10 seconds. It might take the next guy 7 seconds. But if you're strong, you have good endurance and really high power, you're going to increase those calories on the machine burnt quicker. But like we do 50 calories, have a rest, 100 calories, have a rest, 150, have a rest, and we're trying to do 200. So I'm trying to work all the way up with having 30 seconds rest. I haven't got it yet. I've thrown up twice from doing it, and I haven't got close to it. It's a brutal workout, and it absolutely ruins you. But, I mean,
So Gibbo's going into his, let me count. Gibbo's going into his 15th season.
153rd, yeah.
So, so how's his motivation going, Creepy? Do you have to kick him out the butt, or is he pretty motivated?
No, he's a really easy guy to kind of train with. You know, he wants to get better. We're doing stuff on a court somewhere secret 3 days a week. You know, we get to go in there, and we both know our bodies really well. I'm coming back from my knee, which has been giving me a fair few problems still. He's got, you know, his calf that he had during the season, which has kind of been ongoing. So we both know what our bodies need. We've both been around the block. We both played at very high levels. He's been an Olympian, something I strive to be. So I look up to him in a lot of ways from that sense. I grew up watching him. So to just see how he goes about his workouts, I mean, right now he knows that he doesn't have to be the fittest, strongest, you know, most in-shape person in the world. He's got time to build up to that, as do I. So I try and keep a pretty good base, try and be ready as often as possible. But with Gibbo, it's much the same thing. You know, you can roll out of bed, and there's some days where we don't do a goddamn thing. We literally sit around the house and we're in our pajamas all day long, and we cook food. We both walk down and we're looking at the fridge like this for 30 seconds, and the other one walks in and looks at the fridge as well. And, you know, we have a good balance. Like, we're not always just going crazy, you know, army workouts. We are kind of enjoying our time and mixing up little activities in between as well.
And what are the entertainment options? What's happening in that regard?
We have Disney Plus, we have Stan, we have YouTube, Netflix. We both get on.
What's the number one draft choice?
For me, it's honestly probably Disney Plus. I'm a big kids movie buff. I do, and that's got Marvel. I love Marvel. I'm a huge Avengers. You know, Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man, all those. You know, you can watch all of those there. So they've got every single one. So I don't know how many times I've seen the Avengers. But it's well into the probably 20, 30 times.
What's number two?
Number two is Netflix. I've just finished. Oh, actually, I lied. I have one episode left of Money Heist, and I'm waiting for a friend of mine. Her and I have been kind of watching it together, and I have one episode left.
I got one episode left too.
We have agreed after this podcast, we are both going to FaceTime each other and then watch it together as soon as this is done.
After this.
This is, you know what? Derek, we should go on a date one time. This is a match.
Well, we can do that.
Let's sign her up.
The last time I tried a FaceTime date with the girl, she dumped me.
Look, that has happened to me as well, so it's okay. We're all in the same boat. But as my last name says, you can be up shit creek. It's okay. You'll find a way to get out of it.
Where did you start hooping as a kid? How old were you?
I wasn't super young. Like, I always just kind of played locally. I was in Horsham in country Victoria, so we didn't have a big association. We didn't have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids, you know, running around. So I remember my first team was Cars R Us. In the first 2 seasons, I didn't actually touch the basketball. I had pockets in my shorts, and I was scared of the ball. So I'd kind of run around the center circle, maybe to the three-point line, and the other end, hands in my pockets. And it wasn't until 2 seasons in, Mum sewed my pockets up, and I started catching the ball and playing. But I played footy. Always grew up around kind of AFL as well. Dad was a footballer as well as kind of local basketballer. So he was more of a footballer, and that's kind of where my attraction lied earlier on. It wasn't until my young junior years, like under 14s, Horsham had a semi-decent team, and then we went to like country champs, and we started to whoop the absolute piss out of Swan Hill, Echuca, and then we started to play against like teams like Ballarat, who were kind of the more metro Melbourne teams, and we started to do pretty well. And then under 16s kind of came around. We did really well, made like a national championships, and we got our ass kicked. But to go over there and do that, as well as ITC camps, NITP camps, those kind of training camps, you go to a weekend, and then the process just went from there. And it was just into individuals with Owen Hewen, was my coach back then. And then that just turned into like national champs, so Victoria Country under 16s. The following year I did make the team as a bottom age 18s player, and then I made top age 18s. We got a silver medal under 16s, a bronze medal top age 18s with Victoria Country both years, and then I was with Victoria combined Metro and Country, and we won gold, you know, under 20s both years, and I was the MVP of the tournament. Went to the AIS, and that's my junior kind of pathway to start.
And physically, did you grow quickly, or was it kind of just a steady?
It was kind of steady. I always wanted to dunk. That was just my thing. I got 2 tattoos on my feet of stick figures dunking the basketball because me and my 2 best mates used to put ramps on the ground and run off them, jump off it, dunk the hoop, and we'd take photos without the ramp in it. So it looked like we were dunking the basketball. That's all I wanted to do. And then I kind of grew a little bit. And then I got to like 6 foot, 6'1". And that's kind of where I stayed at for a while. And then I got my tonsils out of all things. Don't know how, but mum swears by it. Got my tonsils out when I was about 14 or something like that, and I grew like 15 centimeters. Got to like 6'4", 6'5". Like started like sprouting up heaps, and I went from like being just 6 foot to being pretty tall, and that's kind of where I went to the Australian Institute of Sport. But I was if you've seen some photos, mate, of me as a string bean 17-year-old, you would laugh your ass off. It's hilarious.
And somebody just said, they just asked, why do you wear 55?
So Dad was number 5 growing up. He always played in that. That was always the number he had. And then when I went to Adelaide, I wanted to be number 5. And Brett Maher obviously retired that number. And then the only number that was available, 32 was taken because it's 3 plus 2 was 5. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So I went 23. That was the next most available. 14 was taken. And we couldn't go above, I think it was like 35 was the highest they were going to allow us. And then I was 23, so I was 2 and 3 is 5, and that was my number for ages. And then they're like, you can do whatever you want now. You can have a new number. And I was like, 55. I want 5 for me and 5 for Dad. So that's why I've always played in 55 from now on, and I always will.
And you started your career with the Sixers and had 8 really good years there. And by the time you got out of there in 2018, you had gone from like a rotation guy to a solid star on a team full of stars, right? What do you credit that rise to over the 8 years? Because people think just because you get in the league, you're going to be good. There are plenty of dudes that were in the league 2 years ago that are gone, that are good.
Yeah. I mean, I left the AAS under Ian Stacker, but right before Ian came in was Marty Clark. And I had Marty for 14, 15 months. And I really liked Marty because he was a really hard kind of pushing guy that just loved to work, loved to train guys, loved to develop players. And I wasn't actually going to go to Adelaide. I was going to stay because I just had like an ankle clean out. And he's like, Nathan Herbert just did his knee. I'll sign you to a 3-year deal. I was like, fuck, all right, sweet. Let's do that. It was like college or go to the pros. And I was 17 when I went over there, and just turning 18, I was going to sign a 3-year deal. So I thought of it as I had a year head start to anyone else that went to college. And that was kind of where I just wanted to be. I just wanted to be around someone that would work me and make me better. And I didn't feel college was going to do that as much. I felt like they talked so much shit and they told you what you wanted to hear. I didn't really have time for that. I was a country boy that felt comfort being around home and friends and family. So there was no way I was going to risk comfort for living in America, going to university. I fucking hated school. Excuse my French. I hated school. And I really struggled with it. So that wasn't really appealing to me either. So Adelaide just started with Marty, and then Mark Radford, he was, if you've met Mark Radford, he's an absolute star. I loved what he did. He brought a toughness and a worker's mentality and an integrity to every single session. He had grit and he had heart and he had passion. And him and Marty combined were just like, if you thought Marty was hard at work, and but he worked you until your feet fell off, and then he told you to, tape them to your knees and just run on stubs. Like, he'd be footy drills and hip and shouldering and tackling guys in the locker room before games. Like, he got you amped up to play, and you were always ready to play. So I just had a work ethic already, but then they really brought that out of me. I didn't really enjoy my first few years of being a professional. I thought I was going to come in after an under-18 World Championship, being an MVP of the World Championships in Albert Schweitzer tournament, thinking I was going to do well, and I friggin' sucked. Like, I couldn't shoot, couldn't make plays, I wasn't a great passer, I wasn't a great ball handler, I was an okay defender, and I was an athlete. That was it. Yeah. And they just
when did you start to notice development in your game performance?
Man,
where you were able to do those things?
Took me a few years, yeah. Marty and Rat just worked with me, and then over time broke my shot down, broke this down, worked on my left side, worked on my right, and it was just every day. Started kind of playing 15 minutes 25 minutes one game, someone to get hurt, I'd be ready. And it was just about taking my opportunity when it came. And then all of a sudden, it kind of came to like one or two guys got injured, and I played more kind of at the back end of the season. And the following year, I basically came off the bench as a six-man after 4 or 5 years. And then by then, that's when Joey had come in. And Joey had basically told, he was like, you got another year here. Like, I don't really see you playing much. Like, you got a long way to go. You don't see how good you are. And I had no idea. And I was the deer in headlights with Joey. Like, I had no idea what was going on. And he really was the turning point for me. Once he came in, that's where kind of you just look at it, you go, oh, what a dickhead. If I'd done this 5 years ago and I'd had those words or whatever it was that clicked, if I had that moment 5 years ago, but I had it then, and Joe was the guy that really, increased my development and made me to kind of who I am today.
So what do you think were really the things that the buttons that he pushed in you? What was it that got that next level? And I mean, you've gone, since the time I first met you in 2014, you've really gone 3 levels up.
His ability to make you a better person and not just a basketballer. Like, he worked you on the court, he'd work you off the court, he'd play games with you on the court, he'd play games with you off the court. You had to figure out that battle, and we had that, I guess, the aura that kind of someone carries. We both kind of had one. Now, mine didn't align with his in all kind of facets of it, but it did in a certain number of ways. And I just love working out. I'd call him at any time of the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m., be like, hey, I need your help. Hey, I need to go and shoot. Hey, can you do this? Can I help? Didn't matter what. Yep, no worries, cool, right there, bang. And he'd be in a car and he'd come pick me up. Or he'd go and take me to the stadium and shoot and unlock it for me. Sometimes I'd just go and shoot on my own. He'd open it close to midnight and let me go and work out. Turn the music on, he'd piss off and he'd be like, just text me when you finish. Like, that was kind of, that lit something in me, and that was where it all took off. And yeah, I just wanted to get better. And when he kind of said, look, you could be an NBA player, no one had ever said that to me. Everyone, you've heard it 1,000 times. Everyone always says, like, you're not good enough, you can't do this, and this. And I heard it so many times. I read it online all the time. I read it in comments. I read it in my text messages and DM, like everything. And I believed it. I didn't think I was good enough. And it wasn't until he was like, fuck that. Like, you're good enough. Work your ass off. Put in the time, and good things are going to come. Then, like, I came off the bench, 6-man, second and third year with Joey. That was like my 6th year at the club then. I was playing pretty good minutes coming off the bench. Then the next year, I had a starting role in the off season and was basically the captain of the team. And, I came, I think there was that was kind of the year where I really took a big step. And I wasn't just a guy that made a few plays and, kept guys together. Like, I was actually making plays and I was reading the game. I was understanding. I could recall the last 5 possessions, both ends, offense and defense, time and score. What do we need next? I understood all that then. And then the next year, it was like, your captain, your MVP of the club, your fans MVP of the league. Now there's like second year NBA Summer League. All these things started to kind of snowball, and the development, and then the sports psychology that came into it with Dean Evans. He was a huge factor for me, and still is even today with Angela Powell as well. Yeah. Those all combined just made this huge concoction of like, I need to get better today, no matter what it was, reading, like looking at analytics, like understanding the game, who are we playing against, what are player breakdowns, tendencies, all that shit just went in my brain and was like, what's next? And that was always my question. What can I do next? Like, what's the next bit of information? Well, I've got this. What else can I do? Well, I've got this information. And then all of a sudden it's like, slow down. They'll be like, slow down. You've got a lot of time. Like, it's okay. But I just wanted to get to the end goal. And that's where I'm at now. Like, I still want to get there every single day. And that's never going to leave me.
That's so hard, isn't it? When you finally, when you have that realization, when the thought process has finally become clear, and then you can see the road to get what you want. It's really hard to stay in the moment without getting too ahead of yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to continue to take that thing and stay in the moment and work day after day. Hey, let's lock in on that 2018-19 season, though. that was your final season at Adelaide.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been the 2017-2018 NBL season. Your final season, you guys make the grand final. You average like 15 a game. You shoot a crazy field goal percentage, and you're a legitimate NBA candidate. How did that season go for you? How did it feel like all of a sudden being one of the leaders? And you got Jerome Randall. Or was that the Randall year, or was that just Shannon?
No, that was Shannon Shorter,
Shannon
Josh
Shorter.
Childress, Ramon Moore, DJ Sobes.
That's a
Drimmick.
team.
Like,
That's a strong team. Strong team. How did it feel? How did it feel being one of the leaders, not only spiritually, but on the floor now? You're starting to be able to cover all types of bases as a player and as a leader. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, my first year as a real leader was the year before, but that second year, that first year I made so many mistakes. I said so much dumb shit. I didn't care though. I'm not afraid to make a fool of myself or do something that someone criticized me for now. I used to, but not anymore. And now I really try and just do what I think is right. And that's all I tried to do my first year. My second year, it flourished a lot more. Communication was easier, team discussions, how we approach the game and trainings and communication between players and coach and captain and leadership group. Everything kind of made a huge circle and it just started to flow really well. I felt like I had a solid year. Obviously, there's areas I want to improve on every single year. People always say, oh, you need to go and shoot the three ball at 37% plus, 40%, all this shit. And at the end of the day, like, piss off. I don't give a shit what you have to say. I'm going to continue to work at the things I need to be good to great to incredible to absolutely elite. And I was a good shooter. And I wanted to be a great shooter. And I was doing everything I needed to. But I couldn't go away from...
The reality, Mitch, is that after 9 seasons in the NBL, you're a 36% three-point shooter. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but every year it's like, you need to do this better. You need to do that. And I'm like,
no, even worse. Even worse, people are like, he can't shoot. I'm like, no, he fucking can't shoot. He shoots 36% from the three. That's fine.
And it's funny. Like, I get it every single week, every time. And, hey, Dad just signed on. He said, my boy. Hey, Papa Creek. If I could shoot like my dad, I'd be Michael Jordan. Look, I get it all the time, and I still get it. And it's one of those things I find so funny because you haven't played in the NBA, mate. Whoever you are, writing to me, sending me DMs, text messages, prank calls, like, fuck off. Like,
wait a minute, prank calls?
I've had people prank call me off private numbers and be like, you fucking suck, go kill yourself. Beep, hung up. And you're like, appreciate it. Like, thanks for the daily, friendly pick me up. But it's funny because I do what I do at a high level, and I attack the rim. I create for others. I play defense. I communicate at a high level, and I push the tempo. I'm a threat when I need to be a threat. Now I understand the game so well now that I don't need to go out and try and shoot every single time or be just a 3-point king. I need to do what I'm great at and keep doing that. And then when I have times to do what I'm good at or great at or getting great at, then I can just mix that in a little bit. So all of a sudden I've got a baseline of this, but if I can bring a little bit of that shooting eliteness and then a little bit of that lucky hands and perception and understanding of their plays and reads, all of a sudden you're a hell of a player. And that's all I've tried to do. So that last year, I kind of started to figure that shit out. And then with Joey, once again, like, he made it easy. He put you in positions to be successful, and you just had to be, I guess, ready for that. And I wasn't years prior. The year before I probably was, 2017-18, but 2018-19, like, I was ready. And that game 5, man.
That's what I was just trying to get into.
Oh, man, that shit still hurts. I hate Melbourne so fucking much. That stings. I hate looking at Ty sometimes because he played for him and he beat me. That's it. Like, we had a great battle, all finals. That was an awesome. I cherish that. I respect Ty and I love him as a person because of what we did in that grand final series together. We just went at it. We were jawing, hitting each other, grabbing, fouling, attacking each other. He couldn't guard me. I couldn't guard him. We're telling each other. That was good fun, but we fucking lost. And that sits with me and just burns. And every game, you'll see my disappointment on my face at some point. I try not to show it, but that sits in the back. And it's like, I don't want to go through that again. I never, ever, ever want to get to a game 5 or a deciding game and not have the ability to win. I want to give myself every chance to be successful. And if I'm not, and I give my best and I give my absolute best effort, I'm happy with that. But I felt like there were a few of us on that team that were underdone, that tried to do too much, and it killed us, and it still haunts me. I hate it.
And I know it's so corny to say, but yeah, it was a great season for you, and all those performances actually, you took that disappointment and then got opportunities elsewhere. You get a stint in Germany right after that season.
Yeah, Germany was pretty cool. I played for a relegation
team?
team. BG Göttingen.
That's right. Göttingen.
So purple team. BG Göttingen. I had Johan Rucker. He was an absolute stud of a coach. Very different character. Really, really cool. Their strength and conditioning coach, Dominic, he actually came to Australia after our season. That's how close we became in being there for 7 weeks, I think it was.
Wow.
He flew over with his, with his suitcase and was like, I'll come and stay with you if you want. And I was like, do it, I dare you. And he did. So it was really cool. Loved my time in Germany. Had an amazing experience. Played for a relegation team. So we were a team fighting for the bottom 2 positions of the ladder. So if you finish bottom 2 in the German league, you fall out of that and you go to the 2nd division. So the team that I went to was in the relegation spot, and we ended up winning, I think, 4 out of our next 6 games and finishing safely. But had an amazing time. I really, really liked Germany. It was a lot of fun.
And you went from there, you got picked up in the G League.
Dallas.
Was it D League or G League then?
So I went and did summer league with Dallas Mavericks, and then that's where I thought I did solid enough job to maybe get a 2-way. Basically, got told, wait by the phone, and then waited so long. I was at the airport about to board my flight home, and right as I boarded, they knew the time, and they're like, yep, sorry, we're going in a different direction. All the best. Beep, hung up. And I was like, cool. Like, I thought I did really well. Everything kind of lined up. They were talking good things, but it didn't happen. And that was the first kind of kick in the guts.
Yeah.
Came back. Then the whole Adelaide thing went on. Re-signed in Wurzburg, which is in Germany, in the same league I played in the season before. Signed a good deal there. Was really happy, really excited. Adelaide ship was behind me. Had a good, clear focus of what I wanted to do next. Pardon me. And then all of a sudden, I'm packing up my house, doing a garage sale, and I get a call, and it's like, do you want to do a training camp, an NBA training camp with the Brooklyn Nets? And I was like, yeah, clearly, like, that's unreal. And then as all that excitement happened, like, the biggest cloud came over my head, and the whole Adelaide thing kind of came back up and really clouded that whole initial experience, which was really hard to kind of handle.
So let's jump in there for a minute, not too long. So basically, you needed a release from the Sixers, correct?
Yep.
And what was the holdup? There was reports that Joey was part of the holdup. There were reports that the ownership was part of the holdup. There was a lot of different rumors about it. So what was the reality, Mitch?
Joey was amazing through the whole process. That's simple as that. Had nothing to do with him. A lot of the staff there I still love and cherish very much. I love that place. Every time I go back to Adelaide, I go back to Adelaide Arena, like Titanium, walk around, stand on the stairs at bloody, like, the wood wobbles every time you go down the steps. The seats slap up against and make the loudest noises. Like, that's the shit I miss. Like, I miss that. I know where all the soft spots are on the floor. I know, like, where there's, they've resurfaced certain rooms and not others and just painted over the top of it. Or they've, I know all the little secrets, the ins and outs, the hidey holes, like all the equipment stuff they put in the back, all the old school mascots. Like, that was home for me. So to leave that was hard, and to have a sour taste about it was hard. But look, that all went on, and I moved forward. Like, I tried to put it in the past, and I didn't make any comments. I've never officially made a comment about it. Stayed out of the media for it. I've obviously done some things in my last 2 years since then, or 18 months since then, which probably weren't the smartest things in the world, but shit happens, and I got a voice, and people don't like to hear it sometimes, but guess what? You're going to have to. And I'm not going to shy away from who I am or what I think or believe in or what I want to say.
Yep.
I don't care whether you think I'm right or wrong. I'm going to say it. So, you know, I felt like I was disrespected in ways, and my family was, and I voiced that. But went to the NBA, kicked off there. Bloody first day, walked in, Brooklyn Nets. You have like imagine this kind of setup. If anyone has, so this is like a big window, right? And there's another one just up here. Imagine this for, I'm going to say, 50 meters and 40 feet high. Windows like that looked over the entire New York City skyline. And that is we had 2 basketball courts next to each other. And then out that big window was the New York City skyline. That's where the Brooklyn Nets facility was based. And it was right on the outskirts on the port. And it was the most incredible view you'd ever seen. And the first day I walked in there, I was like, far out fruitcakes. This is off its head.
Their training facility is actually in Brooklyn.
It's in Brooklyn, yeah. So it's kind of, where are we looking at? Lower Brooklyn. And it's kind of around a little horseshoe near the port area. And, mate, it's unreal. Like, it's bloody unreal. So you go in there and shooting, and you're looking out, and you're like, that's New York City right there. Like, that's the most iconic skyline maybe in the world. And I'm shooting jumpers with 17,300 ball boys who are rebounding for me, and 2 assistant coaches. I had 15 other assistants. And you're like, this is ridiculous. There's one person shooting. I normally can rebound by myself or get my friend to rebound for me. I had, like, there was 12 of us walked in there, and there was like 15 rebounders. Rebounders.
Wow.
Just their job was to rebound. I was like, we're doing it wrong in Australia. We really are, guys. So it was an unbelievable camp. Had an amazing time. Obviously didn't get picked up, didn't expect to, but just the experience itself was unreal. And then went and played in the G League with none other than Big William Weaver, aka Dr. Strange. And that's kind of where that journey started.
Hold on, I see Machado just logged on. Machado, are you still in Cairns, or did you go back to America?
Damn, Scotty, stop trying to call my bullshit. There was 16,000 ball boys, not 17,000.
So Long Island Nets. So you just moved, it's like 30 minutes. Did you train in Brooklyn still, though?
Yeah, so I was training. What up, Scotty?
So, Scotty, you're in Cairns. Scotty, I want you to come on the podcast next week.
Yeah, so Long Island was 30 minutes directly east, kind of from Manhattan. Yeah, that was it. You know, I stayed in Brooklyn a little bit, right, like where the bridge is. And I kind of was out at Long Island, back at Brooklyn, out at Long Island, back at Brooklyn. I was kind of the training guy as well for some of their rehab players. So Kenneth Reed, Jared Dudley, Spencer, even D'Lo when he was injured, like I got to come back, Travion Graham. Like all these guys were kind of in and out of rehab, and there'd be times where you had to go there and work out and train those guys at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. and do 2-on-2, 1-on-1, 3-on-3 games. And then you go all the way back out to Long Island, which is essentially, it's a 30-minute drive, 35 if you don't have any traffic, but it's an hour in New York traffic.
Yeah.
They'd get you a big Escalade, private driver would drive you back out to Long Island, you go and work out with the team, and then you come back and you'd be at your apartment, which is in Long Island. If you've ever been to Long Island, there's not much out there. And it was cold as all balls, like it was, you froze your absolute nipples off. So it was kind of hard to acclimatize myself to, not just the training, but the ability to go from NBA to G League to trying to rehab and then maintain all of that, whilst then playing 50 games in a G League season over the same course we would play 28 games here in Australia. So it picked up pretty quick. But it was pretty evident from the first week of training camp that Will Weaver and the coaches were like, we want you to lead this team, and we're happy for you to speak up and pull guys in and, you know, set them straight. We'll back you with that. I wasn't a dick about it, but it was hard to go from a captain here and an MVP of, you know, a team and fans MVP of a league to then go and be like, I'm the only white guy on that team, apart from when Zana Musa came in, who's obviously an absolute legend and one of my really good friends, but he was signed with the Nets, so he was never really there. But I had to go and pull guys in, and I'm the only white dude basically there. And they're like, who the fuck is this crazy Aussie? Like, he's off his head. So that was an experience. That was hard.
Great.
That was really hard. And being away from everyone, that was the hardest part. All of those pressures, and then not having anyone to talk to back home on the same time zone. Like, I had 3 hours a day window where it was like maybe 9 a.m. here when I would wake up, because I didn't want to wake up at 6 a.m. to make a call and then go back to sleep for 2 hours. I had maybe half an hour to call people where it lined up. So it was hard to manage everything. But yeah, it was something I'm glad I went through, because it really, really helped me.
And you played really well. You averaged about 15 a game, played 31 minutes a game. I think you started 35 or 36 games out of the 41. And how did you guys do in the playoffs that year?
We ended up being kind of conference champs. We ended up finishing with the overall best record in the entire G League. We went to the semifinals. Obviously, we made that. And lo and behold, I got my call up. And I was like, oh, sweet. Like, get a call up. Finals is about to start in like 2 weeks. Getting prepared. Go and play my time. Sign a 10-day with the Brooklyn Nets. Then all of a sudden, they're like, you know, I bring my parents over. Like, I brought my best friend, Scotty Charman, my mum, my dad, my sister, and my dad's partner at the time. Brought them all over and was like, get on a plane. I just got signed. You know, they all flew the next day. Like, Dad's passport was he's an idiot. Sorry, Dad. He's an idiot and didn't do his passport prior and had to resubmit it, wait for it to be ready, and then he could come over. So he came over 7-8 days later. But I finished my 10 days, and they called, and they're like, hey, thanks for everything, you know, whatever. I'm showing my mum, my best mate, and my sister through the Brooklyn Nets facility, and they're like, yeah, rah. So what are you doing tomorrow? And I was like, oh, nothing. I'll just go back. We've got training, I think. He goes, oh, well, you might have to cancel that because we're going to sign you to another 10-day straight away.
Oh,
and I was like, far out. I thought maybe the first one was just hey, really appreciate you coming from Australia and all you've done and being a leader and how you've carried yourself and built this club into something and set an example. But it was like, you did well enough here to earn yourself a second 10-day. Right. And that for me was like, this huge weight fell off my shoulders. The first time I heard, I was the most emotional person you've ever heard in your entire life. I bawled my eyes out for about 12 hours straight on the phone to a FaceTime with 10 people, like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I couldn't speak. There's voice recordings and video that the Brooklyn Nets put up of when they called me, and you can just hear me sobbing in the background. It was really, really cool. And it's something that I still remember everything about, where I was, what I was doing, what I ate right beforehand. Yeah. Everything.
And you still seem to interact with a lot of guys. You must have, you know, created a good impression on most of the guys on the team and in the staff and so forth.
Yeah, I try to just be myself and understand that if you don't like me, you don't like me, but pretty laid back. I'm pretty outgoing. I can be a few different things depending on what I feel or what I want to kind of get myself into. So I can kind of hang around with different crowds. But the best thing was, like, I was Aussie. People like Australians in America. It's a thing. Australians love Americans when they're here. So vice versa. Like, I kind of fit in that way. But, you know, I could go out and have beers with the boys or hit the clubs, or we could go and have a nice steak dinner and wine, or we could go to one of their houses and do something. Like, there was always something we could do, and we had a really fun team. If you saw the Brooklyn Nets 2 seasons ago, I mean, we had the best bench, we had the best reactions, we all supported each other, we had great energy, everyone spoke about us. And
who did you kick it with most of the time, Mitch?
Zana Musa was that me and Musa. I gave him the most critical feedback every day. Like, I was on his ass. I like roasted him every single day about being an elite, being a professional, like traits and like how you need to react, speak to people, be kind to others. You never know who or what someone is until it's too late sometimes. So treat everyone the exact same way. And I was on him every single day about it. And there were times that we butted heads and whatever else, but I love that guy. Like, I still do. I still message him and reach out and wish him well and hang shit on him. And, you know, we kicked it a lot. So he was a really good dude. All the guys on that team were really cool. Tom Wimbush was one guy in the Long Island Nets. And, Kendall Gray was another guy. He was a big fella. We got really close. but everyone was really good. Like the whole team got along so well. And for a G League team, if anyone knows the G League, it's a selfish ass league with a bunch of selfish ass dudes. And I'm not afraid to say that because everyone over there says it. And like Trajan Langland and Matt Riccardi and Will Weaver, all those guys like GMs, you know, Brooklyn's GM, the Long Island Nets GM, and Will Weaver was the head coach. They can all attest to this and say that that league's selfish as a mother. So for them to actually kind of say, like, you've changed the culture here.
Right.
You've built this into something that is a family and orientated team environment where everyone's receptive to helping each other. That for me brought me to tears in my exit meeting. That brought them to tears. They were crying in my meeting. I was crying. I didn't want to leave. Like by the end of it, I was ready to come home because I missed my family so damn much and it was so hard. But to leave all of that and to not be able to see that what we built continue to flourish and develop, that was really hard. And I haven't really had much to do with them since, but I'd really like to be able to go back there and, maybe go there again one day. Who knows?
Well, then after that, you think you're on your way out of the NBA, and then you get the call from the Timberwolves.
So we had finals, like semi-finals, like what I was about to get to. Semi-finals came up, and it was like, this is all we wanted. We're going to win this shit. Like, we had the best team. We felt it. Houston were really good, but we were like, we're going to beat the piss out of them. No questions asked. We were the most confident team. We played with swagger. We had everything. We were undersized, but we just played a tough man's game. And all of a sudden, semi-finals is in like 4 days, and get a call. And we actually had just finished on top of the whole thing. And we had like 4 days or 3 days off until we had to train again.
Yep.
And we all went out for beers on the Friday night and woke up with a hangover. Marquise, my agent, called me from Mogul Sports and was like, yo, the Timberwolves want to sign you. What do you want to do? And I was like, fuck. I just spent 10 months longer grinding. Like,
wow.
I've never liked that term, the terminology grinding. Like, you grind. It was a grind. That's bullshit. Yeah. It's not a grind. It's a job. But it's not a job. It's a passion. It's what I do for fun. It's what I love. So this is just my life. Grinding isn't anything. That was a fucking grind. That's a grind. That was hard. It was really hard. It was really, really hard.
And plus, I mean, you're such a loyal dude to all of a sudden pick up, and I mean, you're identifying. And you're.
I didn't know. So I called Brooklyn and told them, and we're like, I mean, I've signed 2 10-day contracts. So once you sign 2 10-day contracts, you have to sign a full contract for the remainder of the season. I already had 2 with Brooklyn. I got cut from my second one because I had a cash and trade deal, but I did like 6 days of it. So then when I called them, I was like, I want to stay here. I want to play finals. Like, I want to, go up and play with you guys, but I want to be here with these guys. But I don't want to shut the door on another team and another organization seeing me and potentially giving me an opportunity. And they knew how much it meant to me. And they're like, well, it's a game day here. They play tonight. And it was like 11 in the morning. And they're like, you have until 1 o'clock to tell us. And I was like, far out. So I called Brooklyn and they're like, well, we're all on board. We're all ready to sign you for the remainder of the season. Everyone. But we don't call the coach on game days. He's not contactable. He just isn't contactable. And they were all like, look, we're 95% certain he's going to say yes. But we can't give you an answer until tonight after the game. And I was like,
wow,
I got to do this. So I went.
Was that Atkinson?
Yeah, Kenny. So my choice was 10-day contract with the Minnesota Timberwolves, 15 days of the season left. So there's 5 days after that 10-day had finished, there would have been remainder of the season, which means I would have missed the semi-finals and I couldn't actually come back and be cleared to play in time. They wouldn't have cleared me. So the only team I could have played for was Minnesota's team. So I was like stuck in the middle. It was like 10-day contract and no guarantees, or wait until tonight, lose the Minnesota deal, potentially sign a remaining season contract with the Nets, or I get rid of Timberwolves, I wait for the Nets, and they say no, and I got nothing. So I was like, I'm just going to take it, go to Timberwolves, and just see how I go. Went there. He's like, yep, we got 10 games left in the last 15 days. That's how many games we played. And no, 8 games, sorry. 8 games in 15 days. We played every 2 days pretty much. And he's like, we want to play you a lot of these games. We believe that you're a player in this league. Didn't play 1 minute until the very last game. So I've stayed for the 10-day contract, trained every day, worked my ass off, enjoyed it, had an amazing time. Like, really had an amazing time. Out of all my places I've been and played in America, Minnesota was my favorite.
Wow, really?
Yeah, even to live. I loved it there.
Okay.
And then, yeah, they're like, okay, well, I know we didn't play you for the 10 days. And I was like, this is weird. Like, you guys were telling me you're going to play me, but you didn't. They're like, we want to sign you to a full contract for the remainder of the season. And I was like, no shit. A full rostered NBA, like, not a 10-day, not a 2-way, like a full roster spot. And I was happy for my 10 days, beyond words, but this was a whole new level of achievement. And that meant everything. So all of a sudden, stayed there. There was 3 more games, I think. Didn't play the first 2. And the last game I played, I think, 5 minutes, had like 6 points, 5 rebounds. Like, had a great time just hanging out with the boys and playing and meeting everyone and working out the coaching staff. And, you know, guys like Pablo Prigioni, who was in Brooklyn Nets for an assistant coach, he actually went to the Minnesota Timberwolves and came there and coached. So I got to have Pridge there. You know, I had a really, really good time. Really loved it. Stayed there the rest of the off season. Didn't come home really. Went home for like 10 days. Went straight back when no one else was there and just did all my preseason there. No one was there. It was just me and 2 other guys that live locally. And that was kind of how it all came about. And that rolled on for 4 months until Summer League came around. And then, yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. That's
crazy.
Great. That's great. Well, you know, like I told, I had Bryce Cotton on a couple of weeks ago, and I said, look, you guys are still young enough where you never know what can happen. There's still opportunities. You just never know what can happen. But the most important thing, I think, is the character. You know, the character is strong. Where you've gone, people have enjoyed having you around, and you know that resonates. And you know how the NBA is now. That it spreads, and people know. You know, if you're a good club guy, which is so important. If you're not a major star, you know, like they look for those guys to build character and to build culture within the team. So let's talk about the end of this season because we're running out a bit of time. Prior to your injury, what were your chances of going elsewhere after your Southeast Melbourne season? Did you have any opportunities to go to Europe? Did you have any opportunities maybe back in America?
Yeah, NBA was there. We had it. It was there. And but we hadn't told anyone about it, and I still haven't. This would be the first time talking about it. But, yeah, we had maybe the most certain thing apart from signing a contract, like immediately. 3 roster spots at one of the clubs, go over there, pass the physical, play 1 game with their G League team to register pretty much, and then sign. Yep. And, yeah, it just... I found that out maybe 4 or 5 days before I hurt my knee.
And playing for Southeast Melbourne, you played, was it at Sydney?
No, I was at home against Sydney. Home? Yeah. So it was like maybe the Sunday. Yeah, it was the Sunday, and then we played Thursday, Saturday, and they were the last 2 games. So it was the 3rd last game of the season, a week to go. And I was on a plane. Like, we played the Sunday against Melbourne, and we had the MVP that night. I was flying out Monday. Someone just tried to call me. That one hurts. That still hurts a lot. That's a really hard one to swallow.
And how's the injury now, Mitch?
It's a hard one to talk about because obviously you lose your opportunity in America, and that's everyone always asks me, why are you back here? Like, why wouldn't you just stay over there? Well, you don't know what the contracts are like. Like, come back here. You know, I got to be with a franchise player at a club. You know Southeast is basically like your Horsham kind of country town vibe outside of Melbourne. You know, get to help build something instead of going to the G League and making $33,000 in the G League and maybe doing an NBA camp. training camp and getting 50,000, you make 80 grand, or you can potentially go and make a lot more than that elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it was either go to Europe or go back here and be on a radar. And I felt like Australia had put themselves on a map where we were really, really competitive and we were really dangerous. So came back and thought I did everything I needed to do. I felt like I may have been hard done by with how the season ended in my mind, but at the end of the day, these things happen for a reason, and I don't know what that is just yet. And whatever the mental, physical battle it's putting me through right now, it's building me and shaping me into what I need to become to then get to my ultimate goal of getting back to the NBA. And I believe I took the right path. I believe I developed my game tenfold this year, to not just look at averages or numbers, but plus minuses and who we ran with and how we went. Like, I was really, really proud of what the club did, first year, things we put in place and the players we brought in. I was really proud of my season and the team's season collectively.
So someone messaged in and wrote, how many tats do you have?
Well, I've currently got a lot. Actually, 1 second. Hey, Shane, can you bring my charger over? I need a charger. I got 100%. I got a few tats. Look at this. No one's seen this yet. This is a world exclusive. So
Okay.
I've never
We
shown
like to
anyone my
break
leg.
exclusives. Whoa.
But that's my right leg. So that's completely done. And then I've just started. I just had 7 or 8 hours today. And I've just had that done 5 days ago. And this was last week. So I've done 3 sittings in 8 days. So I've done 28 hours of tattooing in 3 sets. So I'm kind of over getting tattooed. It really hurt today. And I had tears coming out, I'm not going to lie. I don't normally shed a tear for tattooing, but today got me, it broke me. So, it was...
And what about one thing you do that I can't believe you do is skydive a lot.
Yeah, love it.
How many jumps?
51
51
now.
jumps.
Solo jumps.
Wow.
Yeah. So it started in America, actually, when I was in Minnesota. I've always wanted to do solo and train for it. And I did. I went and sat my 3 exams and my 2 tests for it. Passed all those, learned all the emergency procedures, learned everything about wind, clouds, like cloud coverages, like wind, like how everything works, turbulence, plane, aircraft, safety management, parachutes, everything, pack a parachute, fold a parachute, do everything. And then they're like, you ready? Let's go jump out of a plane, solo. And you got 2 guys that hold you, one either side, and then you kind of go through stages. It's like a course. Yep. And it slowly gets harder and harder. And instead of having 2 people, you then have 1 person hold you. And then you have no one hold you, but you jump out with someone else who's an instructor. And then I always loved skydiving. And now when I get to 100 jumps, I can do my base jumping license and hot air balloon jumping. So I can go in a hot air balloon and like rope swing out of a hot air balloon and jump out. Base jumping, so off buildings, cliffs, rock formations, stuff like that. It's really cool. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, you can go to my wall, my whatever you call it on here, your page on Instagram, and there's some in my latest posts. There's a couple, like 4 or 5 posts ago, I think, but I love it. It's such an amazing feeling. The community's amazing. I do all the indoor skydive, the iFly, quite a lot as well. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing experience. If you're in Melbourne or anywhere in Australia that has an iFly, do it. It's without a doubt one of the closest feelings you'll get to skydiving, but yeah, it's unreal.
Wow, man, that's great. Well, that's we've covered a lot. I'd love to get you back in a few weeks because I want to talk. I want to talk about the Boomers.
Sounds great. I'd love to, mate.
And I want to talk about World Cup because that was amazing. And I know a lot of people they're writing in. They want to talk to you about some other stuff. But I'm trying to keep these podcasts now to 60 minutes because it reduces how much work I gotta do on the back end. Where's Gibbo now?
Gibbo's probably shooting 12-year-olds on Fortnite at the moment. So
really?
Every now and then you hear, "You little bastard, shoot straight." So it's always good. What did you say? He said, "Shut up."
Oh, that's so good, man. Hey, well, you guys enjoy it down there. Stay safe, stay home. And I think we'll be out of this maybe in, what, 8 weeks, Creaky?
Yeah, okay. I had no idea. I'm just
Really?
going to pretend it's doomsday and we're here forever. So, I don't know. Maybe 2 months, hopefully. I don't know. We'll see, mate. Hopefully
Well,
not too long.
enjoy Money Heist. Who's your
I
favorite
will.
character? Who's your favorite character?
See, everyone loves Tokyo because she's so sexy,
I love
but
Tokyo.
I was an Oslo fan. Oslo was cool. Big, swole dude. Never said much. Just went about his business. But then he got hit to the head once, and all those muscles didn't do anything for him. But he's one of my favorites.
And that dude, Gandia, was pretty brutal, too.
Gandhi was a gangster.
Yeah.
I don't know how this last episode is going to go. I don't know where it's going to go or what's going to happen, but I can't wait to watch it.
All right. I'll text you later. Thanks for coming
No
over.
worries.
I'll see you soon.
See you, mate. Look after yourself.
No problem.